Hello, everyone, and welcome to another recording of our Hopsworks 5-minute interviews. My name is Rick, and I'm very, very happy to be on this new recording here because I have a fellow Dutch speaker on the other side of this Google meeting. This is obviously we're doing this in English, but Maarten Sukel, he's written a really great book about the AI revolution. It's called in Dutch. Really great read. I really enjoyed it. I learned some stuff from it, and I decided, hey, I have to get this guy on these 5-minute interviews. So I invited you. Thank you for taking the invite, Maarten. How are you?
Yeah, great to be here for sure. And thanks for reading the book.
Yeah, I really appreciated it. And yeah, Maarten, I have gotten to know you from mostly social media actually, and then by looking at your book and and the stuff that you produce there, really great. But most people don't know you yet, probably, especially non-Dutch speakers. So would you mind introducing yourself and just explaining to us who you are and what you do?
Yes, definitely. So I'm not just an author. I'm actually also a machine learning engineer. I really built the stuff and make it work on a huge scale. So that's sort of my day-to-day job. Next to that, I'm also a PhD researcher in the field of multimodal machine learning. Okay. You know multimodal machine learning, or?
I'm not very familiar with it, but maybe you can explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, when you say humans are very multimodal beings, it's also like birds are, for example. So they interact with each other with colors, with sounds, and things like that. And computers used to be very bad at that. So ChatGPT would output text, for example. You could analyze text, but multimodal is basically trying to bring that all together with multimodal machine learning.
Multiple modes coming together.
Yes. So very good examples like models like DALL-E, when you say, can you generate an image based on the text and it will make an image. That's all multimodal machine learning. Yes. But I've been focusing a bit more on the practical side because I always worked full time. I worked for Picnic, the online grocery store. Yep. I did a lot of forecasting, search engines, things like this. Before that, I actually used to work for government as a data scientist, we called it back then. So quite a technical background, and indeed also recently wrote a book about it as well, which is a lot more on the societal impact of the tech, which I find very fascinating. Yeah.
So how did you get into it? You said you were a data scientist before, and what attracted you to it, and how did you get into it? Did you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, mostly from my studies. I got into the data science world. I think during my bachelor thesis, I started scraping Airbnb and analyzing their algorithms and how it had impact on housing, which was a business I had back then from the thesis as well. And that's how I somehow got interested in this world. And later I figured I want to be the one building these models. Yeah. And then I built the models, and then I saw, hey, sometimes it works out as you intend when you run it on production, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's very weird societal effects as well. So that's how I also got to writing the book. So more on seeing, how things end up. Sometimes as intended, sometimes not.
To be honest, I thought that was one of the cool things about your book. Like, for example, I actually made my wife read part of it as well because she's a teacher, and obviously, there's impacts on everything, but teaching will have like a massive impact on teaching when this thing becomes like mass available, right? So, I guess that's one of the examples of the society impacts, right?
Definitely, yeah. And in teaching there, at least in the Netherlands, we have a huge shortage of teachers. So it could be an outcome to solve that problem. But I think we have to do it in the right way because while we know these models can have bias, etc., we have to make sure that doesn't really creep into our educational system as well. So that's the fun thing. It's like fire. You can do a nice thing with it, and you can break a lot of things with it. So let's see how we can do the nice things with it. That's always really fascinates me.
Absolutely. Can I I always ask people, why or what you think is like the most interesting about this field and why you got into it. I'm kind of sensing that the societal impact is one of your drivers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or is there...
Yeah. And also, you can sort of hear from all the things I do is basically I really like doing different things a lot. That's also why I founded my company AI Factory, which is like advising, building products for a bunch of different clients. So basically, I really like that, playing in other people's backyard, as they sometimes describe data science. So you always get to do, you can work with medical imagery, you can work for a grocery store, you can work for government, and everywhere you do have to learn the domain, but basically your tech knowledge will always come with you. So I like that. It's like a toolbox you can apply to problems, and it's never-ending problems basically you can solve, and you're always puzzling, and I really like that because it gives me something to do that's also useful for the world. Yeah.
And maybe you can just quickly plug what you're doing next. The AI Factory. What is that? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's basically something I can put all my energy in and all my enthusiasm about AI. So it's on one side building products, really helping companies do that in a decent way and with a really strong tech stack, but also advising them more on strategy, because I really like the societal thinking as well. Like, hey, you should probably invest a lot in this, and in 5 years that will really pay off. I really like to dive into those problems, really think about it, and then work on that. But it's all very focused on AI, so that's what I really love. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you all the best for that new venture, and good luck with that. I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about it. Hey, Maarten, we always keep these things quite short, but I also always want to ask the same question at the end, which is, what should people look at? What should people read? What should people find in order to kind of skill themselves up? Any recommendations outside of your own? Well, I mean, I really recommend this
let's
one.
start with my own book.
Yes.
I also really like The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. It's a very nice book. It's a bit of a denser read, but it's really an eye-opener, I would say, to how society functions. Yeah. And a bit more recent, you have Unmasking AI, which is basically somebody that's on a mission to sort of protect the world from machines, and then but it's not science fiction, like it's real. But those I can really recommend, and people can always send me a message for more recommendations, because I always have more than I can read myself.
Fantastic. Well, I'll definitely put some links in the transcription of this conversation. So very, very kind of you to share those. I'd like to thank you for making the time, Maarten, and it's been great talking to you. I look forward to bumping into you somewhere, and wish you lots of good luck with your future ventures. Thank you.
Yes, likewise. Thank you.
Have a nice day.